stars. Today we're going to be talking about perimeter, circumference, and area. Let's remind ourselves what those words mean. Perimeter is the distance around a shape. Circumference is the distance around a circle. Distance around a circle. So circumference is like the perimeter of a circle. And area is how much space a shape takes up. How much space, really how much space a flat shape, like a two-dimensional shape, a 2D shape takes up. All right, so we've got 4 shapes here. So we're going to come up with formulas for the perimeter and area of these 4 shapes. All right, let's start with a square. What do you know about a square? We know all of its sides are equal. So if this side length is S units long, then so is this side length, and this side length, and this side length. All of those side lengths are congruent, which we mark with 1 hash mark. It means they're all the same length. So what would the perimeter be? Well, it's the distance around the shape. So we would add up all of those side lengths. S plus S plus S plus S. So we could say P equals S plus S plus S plus S. Or we could make that a little shorter of a formula. We could say this is 4S. The perimeter is 4S. 4 times the side length. That's an S, not a 5. 4S. How about the area? How much shape it takes up? Well, we do length times width, or side times side. Length times width, you've heard for a while. Length times width. The way we've labeled it, we're calling each side length S. So that's side times side, which is also side squared. So that's the abbreviated form of area for a square. Perimeter is 4 times the side length, and area is that side length squared. Cool. All right, now we've got a rectangle. Rectangle has 2 sides that are the same length on the top and bottom, and another set of 2 sides that are the same length. So let's call this one L for length, meaning this one is also L. Let's call this guy width, same length. Perimeter means add them all up. W plus L plus W plus L. P equals W plus L plus W plus L, or 2W plus 2L. 2W plus 2L. Maybe we'll put boxes around these guys. And our area, length times width. Area equals length times width. There we go. Okay, now we've got a triangle. Triangle has a base. This whole thing is its base. And then a triangle has a height. And we will notice that the triangle's height is always perpendicular to the base, meaning they meet at a right angle. So height is perpendicular. That's what that shape means, or symbol, sorry. Height is perpendicular to the base, meaning they meet at a right angle. So to talk about perimeter, we also need to know the other sides of the triangle. Let's call this side A units long. Let's call this side C units long. We've got an A and our base B inside C. Perimeter, distance around the shape, we're going to add them all up. P equals A plus B plus C. And the area of our triangle, area is going to be 1/2 the base, which is what B, base times height. 1/2 base B times our height. All right, our final shape, we've got a circle. Circles are defined actually as the infinite set of points that are a distance, a radius away from the center. So all these points together around make a circle. Our R is our radius, the distance from the center of the circle to the outside, and we're going to use that to find the distance around the circle and the area. Circumference is our distance around the circle. That's 2 pi r. 2 times pi times the radius. And area of the circle is pi r squared. Now what is pi? Pi is the ratio of a circle's diameter. Circle's circumference. Yep. Circumference over its diameter. That's where pi comes from. The distance around a circle divided by the distance all the way across the circle. That's what pi is. Pretty cool. All right, let's do some examples. Find the perimeter and area of a square with side length 12 inches. We said the perimeter of a square was 4 times its side length, 4s. We said area of a square was the side length squared. So I'm going to set those up, and you're going to knock them down. Make sure for area, our units are squared. Units should be squared. Okay, so you're going to plug in 12 to both of those. Tell me what you get. Find the perimeter and area of a rectangle with a length of 20 and a width of 15. Let's draw a little picture here. It's a rectangle, length of 20. So the top and the bottom are both 20 inches. And the width is 15 inches. 15 inches on both sides. So you're going to find the perimeter and the area. Again, make sure for area you have your units squared. And number 3, find the area and circumference of a circle with a diameter of 10 centimeters. We've got a circle. The distance all the way across is 10 centimeters. So what does that mean for our radius? Our radius is only halfway across. So our radius is 5 centimeters. 5 centimeters. We're going to use 3.14 as an approximation of pi. So for your circumference, you're doing 2 times pi times r. For your area, you're doing pi times your radius squared. You're going to finish those 3 questions. Okay, looking good. Moving along. Got a couple more examples to go through here. Find the area and perimeter of this triangle defined by these points. What do we need for the area of a triangle? We need 1/2 times the base times the height. Well, the base is how long this bottom part is. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 units. How tall is our triangle? That's this guy right here. Remember, our height is perpendicular to our base. We need it at a right angle. So our height is 4 units. So we've got a base and a height, which you can use to find your area. To find our perimeter, we need to know all the sides of the triangle. Let's talk about what we're going to do here. As I don't know what that side length is or what that side length is. I do know the height is 4. I know the whole base is 7. And I also know I can use the Pythagorean theorem anytime I have a right triangle. So I've got a right angle here, and I can make a right triangle to use my Pythagorean theorem. So let's look at this triangle on the left. We know the bottom here is 3 units. We know that side is 4 units, and we can use that to find the length of that side. So let's remind ourselves quickly. Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where we use c always being the hypotenuse, the long side of the triangle. So we can do 3 squared plus 4 squared equals the side we don't know. Let's call that x squared. 3 squared is how much? 9. 4 squared is how much? 16 is x squared. 9 and 16 is 25 is x squared. Okay. We're almost there. We just need to do what? Square root. What's the square root of 25? It's 5. So now we know that this side length is 5 units long. We're going to have to do that one more time to find this side length so we can add all the sides up to find the perimeter. So you're going to do this one. We know that side of this triangle on the right is 4. We know the bottom is also 4. So you're going to do 4 squared plus 4 squared equals this side that you don't know. You should get a decimal for that answer. So we've got area, 1/2 base times height. Base we know is 7. Height is 4. You're going to use the Pythagorean theorem to find the other side of the triangle, so you can add them all up to find the perimeter. All right. Let's set up number 2. The area of the rectangle is 64 meters squared. The length is 4 times the width. Find the dimensions of the rectangle. Area of the rectangle is 64 meters squared. We know that area of a rectangle is length times width. So the area is 64. We know the length is 4 times the width. We know the length is 4 times the width. So let's plug 4 times the width in for our length. 4w times w. And what's 4w times w? 4w squared. How do we get w by itself? We divide. 64 divided by 4 is 16 equals w squared. How do we get w by itself? Square root both sides. Very good. So 4 equals w. So we know the width is 4, and the length was 4 times that. So 4 times 4, that's 16. Those are the dimensions of our rectangle. It should be meters. Okay. You're going to keep on cruising through these. Holler if you got some questions. I love you. Keep on that hustle. Go Scholars!